Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in Wrestling with Platinum, versus NXT for January 20th, 2021. I'm knocking this out tonight. I just did a rather long one on Dynamite. Dynamite was a horrible show. This show was pretty good. I thought NXT had a really great show last week. This one, a bunch of very good matches and a sensational main event that's been built properly, the Fight Pit main event between Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. And we're going to get to that. We're at the Performance Center, of course. Vic Joseph, Wade Barrett, by proxy. Oh no, that's right. I see in my notes, she's actually there. Yay! So NXT Fight Pit structure set up in part of the arena, and we are off and running. We got a Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic first round match. Leon Ruff and Kushida versus The Way. The Way. I hate that name. The Way, Austin Theory, and Johnny Gargano. The match is a good-un. They do a split screen, so it's nice. They get in this whole match. The match is a little longer than you think it would be for an opening match, but it's very, very good. Kushida drops Gargano, nails a suplex with a bridge for the pin. So Kushida and Leon Ruff advance. Oh. So they're going to face the grizzled young veterans in the quarterfinals. We get a vignette with Pete Dunne. He's sending a message out to Finn Balor, the NXT champion. So we're building that thing up. Nice to see with NXT. Vic tells us that Kyle O'Reilly aggravated his jaw injury, but he's medically cleared to compete. We get a video package on Karrion Kross and Scarlett, and they say that they're gonna be there next, and then go to commercial. And I know what's gonna happen is they're gonna have something else that's not Karrion Kross and Scarlett. And sure enough, we got Mackenzie Mitchell stopping to talk to Malcolm Bivens outside of William Regal's office, who's the NXT general manager. Blase blah, a match is made. There we go. Cool. There's not much more you need to know. Wasn't a particularly good segment. Wasn't a particularly bad one. It's just exposition to get things done. Now we got Karrion Kross against Ashanti, the Adonis. It is what it should be, which is Karrion Kross destroying him. The Saito suplex always looks brutal. Boy. That forearm, the back of the neck, and then the pin. Yikes, yikes. Karrion Kross wins big. That's how it should be. On and on and on and on. We get Kross beating on Adonis afterwards as well. Ooh. We get a vignette on MSK looking at last week's debut. Yeah, the once Rascals, yeah? They get the win. They got the win over Jake Atlas and Isaiah Swerve Scott. And Wesley and Nash Carter are confident they're going to win this bad boy. Still to come, Lucha House Party versus Imperium in a first-round Dusty Classic match. And we go to commercial. Oh, makes sense. Back from the break, we get a video with Mercedes Martinez and Tony Storm. They issue a warning to Casey and Caden ahead of tonight's first round matchup for the women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Now we got Imperium and Lucha House Party, another really good match. Lince Dorado in particular, I think, looks really sharp here. Long story short, Lucha House Party wins. And everybody's winning with, clean finishes and, shooting star press in this case. Lince nails that thing, by the way. Really beautiful. And it's nice to see. We see Fight Pit weigh-in footage. Timothy Thatcher is 225 and Tommaso Ciampa is 205. Thatcher ignores the handshake and shoves Ciampa, and then they break it up. They're going for an MMA kind of thing, and it works. And I think that match lends itself towards that and Timothy Thatcher's gimmick. I kind of hope Timothy Thatcher wins just so he can be kind of undefeated and be the guy to beat in those things. I think it's kind of a cool concept. Women's Dusty Classic begins next. Then we go to commercial. Um, and they actually go to the Women's Dusty Classic. They talk about it with Beth Phoenix. We see images of many of the main roster superstars who have gone through NXT: Charlotte Flair and Asuka and Shayna Baszler and Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss, etc., etc., etc. They got all 8 teams on the stage with Phoenix and Regal now. I think that looks really cool. Phoenix calls down Mercedes Martinez, Toni Storm, Casey and Kaden, and they face off with the trophy behind them. A really great moment. I really like this structurally. It makes sense. It kind of gives a gravitas and an importance to it. Gives it a real sports feel. I like it. So Team Ninja is what we're going to call Casey and Kaden. And they end up winning this match. It's a really good match. And Io Shirai definitely makes her presence felt in this thing. So Storm is kind of left on her own, and then because Io Shirai and Martinez kind of get into it. So Catanzaro hits this crazy looking 450 thing, man. Almost reckless, but it worked, and they nailed it, so it's good. So Team Ninja wins and advances, and now we get a moment, right? So we're going to look at the brackets, and they're going to face the winners of Alia and Jessie versus Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. I would assume Gonzalez and Dakota Kai are going to advance in that, but I guess we're going to have to wait and see. That's why they do the matches, as they say. So now we got NXT champion Finn Balor storming into William Regal's office and says he wants Pete Dunne. But first, he wants to start with the NXT Tag Champions, his cohorts, Pete Dunne's cohorts, Danny Burch and his partner. Balor says he's going to chop off the arms first and then the head. Regal says he has to protect Balor from himself, which I think is kind of a cool notion, right? Regal says Balor must find himself a partner. He can't take on the NXT Tag Champs alone. And Balor says he doesn't have friends anymore. All he has is enemies. And Regal says they're the same. Regal says he needs to keep his enemies close, and they stare at each other. It's a nice moment where Regal, because the relationship between Regal and the NXT wrestlers is different than, say, Adam Pearce, where Adam Pearce is trying to regulate these guys, whereas Regal is in sort of a fatherly coaching position. I think they're right to lean into that. I think it's a good thing. Bronson Reed is walking backstage. That dude is big. Isaiah Swerve Scott stops him, and he says something to him that we can't hear, I guess giving him advice, and then he smiles and walks off, and Reed looks annoyed. Okay, I guess we'll see what comes of that later. We go to commercial. We come back, and we see the referee going over the fight pit rules with Tommaso Ciampa. I like that moment as well. NXT really feels like they've kind of caught on to something. I'm going to be curious to see what happens with Dynamite, because it was a really bad show. It was really out of control, and there's just so much stuff thrown at you. Whereas NXT feels like they've gotten into a bit of a groove, and I'm wondering if that's going to translate ratings-wise. We shall see. Mackenzie Mitchell is backstage. She announces that Adonis was injured by Karrion Kross, which is not a shock, and he's not going to be able to compete in the Dusty Classic match on WWE 205 Live this Friday. He was going to team with Desmond Troy, I guess, against Tony Nese and Arya Diavari, but there's no word on his replacement yet. But then she's interrupted by Kaden and Casey, who run around celebrating their win and how they're going to go on and win the Dusty Classic. Good stuff. A couple of things got done in that segment. No problem. Very informationally based, but at least we had Casey and Kaden providing some energy to that segment. Tyler Rust against Bronson Reed. Man, Bronson Reed. Woo, child. He wins. He's a big guy. And, man, when he hits that senton and then he goes for that tsunami splash or whatever they call it. Jumping Jesus. Reed stands tall. Yeah. Kenzie Mitchell is back there with Finn Balor. And so let's talk about this tag partner. Balor says there's a few people that owe him favors and it's time to have a chat. Oh, that's an interesting notion. There's people who owe me, so that's who I'm going to get. We see referee Drake Younger going over the fight pit rules with Timothy Thatcher. Nice. Nice. Finn Balor walks into the Undisputed Era's locker room. Ew. Balor looks at O'Reilly, and O'Reilly says he knows why he's here. Balor asks O'Reilly if he's in or if he's still sucking his meals through a straw. O'Reilly's in. They're going to face the NXT Tag Champs. Very interesting. Very cool. Yeah. Have a great way to sort of segue Balor into because I mean, at the conclusion of their match, you're like, what is going to come of this? And I guess we know now. That is interesting. NXT Cruiserweight Champion Santos Escobar comes out with a mic and basically is bragging, and I'm a real champ. I do what I want, when I want, etc., etc. Really putting himself over. He's tells, he's basically just going over his like resume and who he's beaten and all this kind of stuff. So Lucha House Party music interrupts him. Thank God. Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik hit the ring, but they get beat down. Mendoza and Wild hold Lince as Escobar goes to the top. But here comes Kurt Stallion to make the save. Yay! So brouhaha and various things set up for later. Mackenzie's backstage with Killian Dane and Drake Maverick, asking him about next week's quarterfinal match against MSK. They're saying how they're going to win the Dusty Classic. No, they're not. I think MSK is going to beat them, but we shall see. Tommaso Ciampa and Thatcher are walking backstage. Alicia Taylor standing in the fight pit. It's all lit up. She welcomes everybody to the fight pit. And we go to commercial. It's about to be on. We come back from the break. Mackenzie's with Kurt Stallion and Lucha House Party. And he says Escobar comes in and he's going to expose Stallion for the rookie he is and embarrass him next week with the NXT Cruiserweight title on the line. And now we go to the fight pit. It's fucking good. It's good. I'm not sure if I liked it better than the other one that they had with a Riddle and Thatcher. I think I may have liked it better, though. I think I like this one better. But the other one, because it was so new, it made such a great impression. But this was good. This was fucking good. It's worth watching. Even if you don't watch NXT, definitely check out this match with Timothy Thatcher and Ciampa. Man, Thatcher wins. And boy, he went through a war to do it. And the way he had it twisted up, it just looked woof. And Thatcher nods to Ciampa in respect. Really, really fucking good. Good NXT again. I'm hoping Dynamite can right the ship because NXT feels like they're coming on and it feels like they're doing more with less, which used to be Dynamite's thing. So we shall see. Anyway, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Platinum versus NXT.